people have talked about buyout candidates for the Kings. I'll preface this by saying, based on what Monty McNair said, which was something to the effect of, because he was asked about the buyout market at his post-deadline press conference, he said the typical stuff. We're confident in the team, top to bottom. We're always going to, it's a 24/7 job, 365 days. We're always working to make the team better. That, based on that and the list of potential buyout candidates, I don't really know if the Kings are going to do anything, but it's kind of interesting to look. And, I'll start with you. There's some people that just kind of based on what people have posited in terms of who's going to be a buyout candidate, combining that with who you kind of see Kings analysts and Kings fans talk about, anything from John Wall, Dario Saric, DeAndre Jordan, Danny Green, Dwayne Dedman. I know. Oh, I can hear the snickers now.
Yeah, and Dwayne Dedman. Bring him back.
Yeah, right. He's going to really right the ship. Will Barton, Nerlens Noel, Damian Jones. I threw that last guy in there, of course, myself.
Yeah.
But is there anybody that just kind of strikes you as somebody that, that would kind of help, kind of like that? Or are you of the mind that that's just not really worth talking about, that really the buyout market is more, is Russell Westbrook going to go to the Heat, or is he going to go to the Clippers, or whatever the deal is? What are your kind of thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts are, first, the buyout market guys, those big names, they're usually going to go to title contender teams, right? The big names, they want championships. So the Kings, although the third seed right now, aren't title contenders, as we've already pointed out in this episode. So it might be hard if you want a big name. Say, I've seen John Wall be thrown around. I saw the Kings were interested in Derrick Rose during the trade deadline. Like even guys like Will Barton, who, I might be able to help as that backup small forward behind Harrison Barnes. But I think out of the list of people that might be bought out or will be bought out, and the Kings have been connected to him for a long time now, is Nerlens Noel. It obviously makes sense with the lack of a backup center that the Kings have or don't have. He would just fit in well. He's a defensive guy. Yeah, he's a shot blocker and not something the Kings need necessarily, but I think this guy you can plug into Mike Brown's defensive scheme and he'll do well in as a backup. No offense to Metu, but anyone would probably do better than him as the backup center to Sabonis. So he's definitely the guy I have eyes on most, makes the most sense. Same guy I can actually see coming over here if bought out. So I like Nerlens. But at the same time, I don't know if the Kings will actually add anyone. I don't know if anyone will actually even want to come to SAC at the same time. So I'm not too interested in this, but, I guess we'll see what McNair can do. What about you?
Yeah, again, I'll preface this by saying, I don't think they'll do anything. So this is just kind of more me daydreaming. But, we talk about Chimezie Metu being a backup center here. Why the hell wouldn't Dario Saric be a good backup center? Maybe people disagree with me there. I don't know. Maybe you'd be losing a little athleticism, but I feel like you'd be getting a far more skilled player. And one of the things that I would point to as well is that, when Metu, I think he had 2 games last week where he hit 3 threes. And I was like, oh man, if Chimezie Metu can add that stretch element, and it kind of, I wouldn't rule it out, but whenever he has shot threes, it's usually in a small stretch of time. As my co-host Tony would tell you, he would not consider him a three-point shooter at all, which is fair. Dario Saric, however, would bring that. Now you get into kind of the realistic, you noted that a lot of these guys are looking for title contenders and whatnot. Saric kind of, I almost, maybe this is conjecture, kind of would fall into that situation over there now with OKC. But I can't help wondering that if Metu's we said the same thing about Jared Vanderbilt last week. It's if Metu's your backup center, then Vanderbilt could easily do it, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like you can make the same argument about Saric, but I don't know.
I would Kings like their roster than Metu. The dude's
right, and I think a lot of people would, right?
He's shooting 39% from 3 this year on Phoenix on 1.9.
And he's been consistent. I think it's over 40% for the last 3 months.
Perfect. So, career 36% from 3. Saric has been around the division long enough. I forgot he started off in Philadelphia, but he's been in Phoenix for a minute now, it seems like. So
And he's
Um,
tying it back together after coming back from the ACL. And again, if I'm being 100% honest with myself, I think the Kings kind of think they have at least Mike Brown, maybe more than anything. But I don't know if the Kings are going to just move on from Metu. I think if we're talking about the Kings kind of looking at the big picture, playing the long game, I think part of that is them thinking they can develop Metu a little more. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I don't know if that's the smart thing to do. I don't know if that's a good investment, but that's my read on the situation. And we've talked about that all year. The trust in Metu is immense. It's there, whether or not you agree with it.
I'll just say this. I can live with Metu this year. I can live with him this year. He's been there. He's been decently consistent all season long. He's been there when the Kings needed him at that backup 5 role with Rashawn Holmes, just, I don't know, doing whatever Rashawn Holmes is doing. So it's like, fine. I can take Metu the rest of the year and in the playoffs. Even though it's going to hurt our chances, I can live with it this year. I do not want to see Chimezie Metu have a consistent rotational job come next season. Like that's it for me. Like, yeah, we can maybe bring in Nerlens or Dario or something. Fine. Like, whatever. If we do, great. If we don't, fine. Next year, no. Like, no. Yeah, I'd
I
be
have
like, yeah, be
I have an
kidding me.
I have an odd suspicion that we'll be going into camp, kind of being like, "Well, who's going to win the backup center spot? Chimezie Metu or Dibish Keita?" I knew I was going to get a groan or a sigh from Tony.
I hope not. You have to get someone. Just drafts. I
Maybe.
no, maybe.
Maybe they could draft somebody. I don't know.
Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Get someone.
I mean, if they end up moving Holmes in the offseason, which it seems like that's going to be the next opportunity to do that, I mean, you're going to be clearing up a lot of cap space. I would imagine they'd be trying to bolster certain areas, and I think the backup 5 would be one of those areas. You would hope. But again, I don't know. The way I read it, I'm like, they see something in Metu. They have to. I mean, he's exceeded expectations this season. He's shown some growth. And quite frankly, he's been the best backup 5. That's not out of the most impressive field of guys, but out of him, Holmes, and Keita. I mean, they take Trey Lyles out of it because I would actually make the argument that Trey Lyles is the guy, which is almost interesting because Trey Lyles is almost the same height as Metu, bigger body, better rebounder, better shooter. I don't know. I don't. That almost makes it like that. Almost kind of bolsters the argument for Saric because it's just like, man, you have Saric and Lyles coming off the bench.
Man,
I feel like those guys could complement each other really well.
They complement each other very well. I'm all for Saric now. Just with that comment, yeah, Lyles and Saric off the bench together. Jeez, that could be a team I can see winning of the first round of a playoff series. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, just like that hole is just so immense, and the Kings get so bad with Sabonis off the floor. If you can just. And I mean, that's why.
And sometimes they don't, but it's not because of Metu. Like we always say, Metu is all in the water, and when the water rises, Metu rises with it. Mm-hmm. And when the water sinks, when it dips, when it ebbs, he does so as well. So, he's just kind of there. Good athleticism, can dump it off to him. He's shown some signs of kind of having an idea of what he's doing on defense, although sometimes he doesn't. I think it seemed like there were like 3 halves of basketball in a row where he finished the half with like a foul. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Or ended a quarter, I mean. Because I think he ended the end of the first quarter, he had a foul. And then he ended the second half because Sabonis was in foul trouble. I don't remember what game this was. And he had a foul in that one. And then maybe it was another game because I don't think it happened in the same one. I don't know. That becomes an issue too. That, I don't know. But
I like how this
buyout candidates. I know, it's just kind of
buyout candidates to Metu. Dogging on Metu. Well, I'm dogging on Metu.
I don't really know. I don't actually know if either of us are dogging on Metu. I mean, we have given him his
the next segment of the show.
Tony's got a diss rap about
Metu. It's like Matt George's Bagley rap, but it's mine for Chimezie Metu.
All right, let's do Matt George a favor and not bring that up.
Oh, God.
I will say this about Metu, and I thought it was really fun. I didn't like it when the Kings played the Nets, and he was just like John with Kevin Durant. I was like, dude, stop. That's silly. But like, he's kind of like mouthing off with Luka, because Luka talks, It's just like It's kind of funny to just see like Metu just kind of talking with him. It's all good fun. I think that's some of the things. Metu's kind of a funny guy. I think he's a good locker room presence. I'm sure that contributes to what they
Very
think
true.
of him.
I think he is a good locker room presence.
Yeah, funny
I'll
guy.
give him that.
Yeah,
It's the one thing I'll give him.
he gets some.
But buyout candidates, we'll see. I don't know. I don't see the Kings adding anyone. But you got me on that Sarge train, so
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
it's easy. It's so easy to just be like, man, wouldn't that be great?
Dude, they just got Russell Westbrook. I don't know if that'd help us, but he's obviously the biggest buyout candidate name out there. I mean, maybe Westbrook off the bench. Nah, maybe I don't know. Be interesting,
We're talking about preserving the chemistry, Tony.
dude.